Hey, yes, I'm in there.
Okay, John, you are live. So when you're talking, anybody who is on can hear you.
Gotcha. So I'll mute myself right now. Is that about the right distance, you think, to be away from the screen, or?
I'm just gonna, for my panelists, I'm just gonna give it about another minute before I actually initiate some music and things.
It's like a space launch, Katie. I'm impressed.
I'm gonna do this for just a moment.
around the bend. In the village, the music never ends. In a circle of friends, in a circle of sound, all our voices will blend when we touch common
All right, I see we have a few folks who've logged in early. Nice to see all your names pop up and welcome. We're going to continue to play some music and some slideshow in the background until the official start of our program at 6:30. If you haven't already, I may mention this one more time, but two of the things that you are enjoying with your meal this evening include a gazpacho with pulled chicken from Olmo, which can be eaten at room temperature, or you might want to heat it up slightly. Same thing goes for the succotash from Zinc. Might not be good right out of the refrigerator, so this is your time to go and pop those things in the microwave or just heat them up slightly so that they're ready for you when we get to those courses. And I will mention that again when we get started.
foi Salustiano. Foi quem me ensinou como é trocar pé com mão, mão com pé. Teu nome qual é, capoeira? Salu me chamou pirambeira. Que eu fico ao contrário do chão, a planta do pé vira a mão e a palma da mão da rasteira. Aruandê, Aruandê, sou filho de Sindorerê. Aruandê, ele é que acende um candeeiro. É Zumba que vai descer, batendo uma culelê. Doutor, você vai me ver jogar. Aruandê, sou filho de Sindorerê. Aruandê, ele é que acende um candeeiro. É Zumba que vai descer, batendo uma culelê. Doutor, você vai me ver jogar. Menino, qual foi tua escola? Foi a capoeira de Angola. O toque de lá me deu fé, o canto de lá meu axé. Teu jogo onde é capoeira, no Largo da Sé, na ladeira. É no Cabo, na Conceição, é no Maciel, Taboão, é no Tororó, na Ribeira. Filho de Sindorerê. Aruandê, ele é que acende um candeeiro. É Zumba que vai descer, batendo uma culelê. Doutor, você vai me jogar. Aruandê, sou filho de Sindorerê. Aruandê, ele é que acende um candeeiro. É Zumba que vai descer, batendo uma culelê. Doutor, você vai me ver jogar. Doutor, quando eu vou rodopiar, um galo dando a cocorocar. Angola é Angola, Angola. Doutor, no golpe que o vento dá, nem treme a luz do meu candear. É Angola, é Angola, Angola. É Aruandê, sou filho de Sindorerê. Aruandê, ele é que acende um candeeiro. É Zumba que vai descer, batendo uma culelê. Doutor, você vai me ver jogar. Aruandê, sou filho de Sindorerê. Aruandê, ele é que acende um candeeiro. É Zumba que vai descer, batendo uma culelê. Doutor, você vai me ver jogar. Aruandê, sou filho de Sindorerê. Aruandê, ele é que acende um candeeiro. É Zumba que vai descer, batendo uma culelê. Doutor, você vai me ver jogar. Angola, Angola, Aruandê.
So for those of you that have signed on and might have seen that video playing, don't worry, you weren't missing anything. We didn't start without you. We just wanted to share some slides and some sound with you while people were waiting. I'm going to put myself on mute for just a moment or two, and we will start in another couple minutes. Okay, I see we've got about 30 people on our Zoom webinar this evening joining us for dinner. Now off mute. Thank you all for being here this evening. Actually, I'm gonna allow John to welcome you and kick us off here.
Good evening and welcome to Massaro's 10th annual Farm to Table Gala celebration. My name is John Gorham. I'm president of the board of Massaro Community Farm. I'm here to co-host this event tonight with our executive director, Katie Poole, and our resident farmer, Steve Munno. I'm thrilled that so many of you were able to purchase online the ingredients for this magnificent dinner we're going to have tonight. I'd like to briefly explore three main topics: food, music, and nature. These are ways we bring people to the farm and we build community, and they are connected. First and foremost, we're blessed to have Farmer Steve producing this incredible local, seasonal, organic produce that keeps us all healthy. And when you take those ingredients and put them in the hands of these very skilled chefs, voila, you get the ingredients for a great feast, which we're going to celebrate together tonight. Like I said, I want to talk about food. This is the food that sustains our bodies. It's also really important that we understand how our food is grown. Tonight, you will see some slideshows that will explain some of the sustainable agricultural practices that Steve and his staff employ. These are meant to nurture the soil, revive the land, and help us all heal the planet. How food is distributed is also really important and impactful. The quick action by Steve and his staff at the beginning of the pandemic was very impressive. Together, they set up an online store with a hands-free pickup system that allowed food to continue to get out to the local community. In addition, Steve was able to pull together produce from small farms and producers of food whose distribution networks were in peril. Massaro fulfills its charitable mission through our CSA and the donations of the food we make. We have dynamic partnerships with many organizations that support the food insecure in our region. The second topic, of course, is music. Those of you who were on earlier, you saw a slideshow. The music was provided by Paul Winter and Teresa Thomason. You'll hear from Teresa with a solo prepared performance later tonight. Their music will provide the background for the many slideshows that you'll be hearing tonight. Teresa is a member of our development committee. She lives in Shelton, Connecticut. She's a renowned gospel singer who's performed in over 150 cities around Europe. Paul Winter, of course, has won 7 Grammys. He's a loyal friend of the farm. He's done benefit concerts and different programs for us at the farm. If you can stick around till after 8 o'clock tonight, we will have a special performance, video performance by Paul of his very latest composition, which is called Sun Particles. The second topic that I'd like to talk about, the third topic rather, is nature. And 12 years ago, when the town was deciding what to do with this abandoned 57-acre farm, a number of us came and said, it should be rejuvenated, should be kept as a farm. They said, we'll give you the farm under 2 conditions. One, that within 3 years, you get a viable farm operation up and running. And thanks to Steve and all his hard work, that's come to pass. And secondly, they said, you need to take that 40 acres, that additional portion of land, and turn it into a recreational facility for the town. Because after all, we may only end up farming something like 15 or 20 acres of this 57-acre parcel. We were fortunate to have Louisa Cunningham, a former board member, who with the Girl Scouts built a magnificent 1-mile nature trail in the woods. So we're just beginning with this portion of the recreational opportunities that we have. I'm here to welcome you to the farm, to encourage you to come down. If you haven't joined our CSA yet, please do so. Come and join at committee, work with us, join our bicycle team, the Massaro Melonheads, whatever way appeals to you. We want to engage you in our community farm. Thanks very much for showing up. We're happy to see a growing number of you on this virtual presentation tonight. Let me turn it back over to you, Katie.
Thanks, John. So a few ground rules. Hopefully by now we've all gotten very used to using Zoom. In case you haven't noticed, you're not all showing up on the screen this evening, and that's because we didn't want people to get confused over who was speaking and sharing from the farm and all of you. We miss seeing you, and we love, you know, seeing your faces when you do show up for CSA. So we encourage you throughout the evening, if you're dining with friends and family and enjoying this fabulous meal, please take pictures and share them. We're on Facebook and Instagram. You can tag us. Share those with us, and hopefully we can make those part of a slideshow at some future date. But I just want to point out a couple of things. So first of all, I want to welcome our farm staff. So typically this weekend is not a weekend off like it is for many people for our farm staff. They often are working very hard helping to deliver to our supporters a wonderful farm to table meal. The sort of upside, if you will, of not being able to have you all at the farm in person this year is that they actually get the weekend off, and we really are trying to take this opportunity to honor them and thank them, because we consider them our frontline workers. They show up every day, day in and day out, heat, rain, wearing masks, working in the fields, and have grown much of the food that you're eating this evening. So farm staff, we honor you, we thank you. I also want to point out that you should have gotten a couple of things in your package. You should have a menu, hard to see. I'm trying to hold it up for you, but I know I've got my picture on in the background. You have a farm menu with a program on the reverse side that just sort of loosely follows what we're going to be going through tonight, and a updated map that we provided for you so that you can follow along when Steve is taking his tour around the farm, and we're going to share that with you virtually a little bit later on. We are using the chat feature tonight, so if we're going to take some opportunity to take some questions, if anybody wants to type a question in the chat feature, we'll be monitoring that throughout the evening. One of our farm staffers is going to monitor that and make sure that she draws to our attention. We might not have time to get to everything, but want to encourage you to use that. We'll also be sharing some links with you over the chat feature, so check that throughout the evening. And let's see. I think without further ado, I'm going to move on. So hopefully you've got your package meal all laid out for you this evening. We've got 5 courses to share with you, plus this cocktail. So I wanted to say a little bit about elderberry syrup. We grow a lot of elderberries on the farm. You've got this little vial of elderberry syrup in your bag. This is one bottle is enough for about 2 cocktails. Elderberries are high in antioxidants, lots of vitamin C, and when you cook them down with water and some herbs and then sweeten them with honey, you end up with this really high antioxidant and good antiviral, especially for over the cold winter months. Lots of people take it 1 teaspoon a day as a cold remedy or as a respiratory, infusion over the winter. So if you haven't already mixed it up, I'm going to take my little bit of elderberry and pour about half of it into a mason jar that I have here. So if you don't already have your cocktail mix, I encourage you to go and grab your drink or your glass of wine or your beer and whatever you're going to enjoy during the rest of the meal this evening, and make sure that you have that available. I've got some ice. I'm going to add a little bit of seltzer. When you make your elderberry syrup at home, you can make it with fresh elderberries, which we did from the farm. You can also, it's not difficult to find dried elderberries because they have a very short and fleeting season. So you can find dried elderberries either online or at a place like Edge of the Woods. And make that syrup whenever you want or whenever you run out. Let's see. All right, so I've got all my ingredients. I'm just sort of shaking them up here, giving them a good mix. I've got some seltzer, and I actually opted for gin. I really like gin in the summertime with my fresh juices. I think it makes a good complement. I've got a little bit of crushed ice in my glass here with a tiny bit of muddled rosemary. So I'm just gonna put my concoction in my drink glass. And what I started to say was when you do make your own elderberry syrup, you can make it as sweet or as tart as you want. When I made this syrup from the farm this year, when we made this group effort, we actually made it in 2 batches, and I think one actually came out a little bit sweeter than the other. So you may have a drink that is a little bit more tart. You may have one that's a little bit sweeter. Again, I'm going to cheers our entire farm staff and thank them all for being on the call with us this evening. All right, with that, I'm going to move on to, hopefully you've gotten your drink, you've sat back down. Let me just pause for a moment here and make sure that we don't, I see a couple of questions, a couple of comments. Thank you, farm staff. And the cocktail is really great with a big splash of orange juice too, if anybody wants to try a modification. All right, so I wanted to move on to introducing our first course this evening. Typically in a given year, we may partner with one primary caterer to bring you this wonderful farm to table meal and maybe have another partner that makes a dessert. This year, we really wanted to try to spread the love around. We wanted to work with the many caterers who often buy from us throughout the year. Caterers and restaurants are, having as difficult time as any businesses. So we try to bring together all those who work with us on a regular basis. And that means that we're bringing you dishes from 5 different caterers / chefs this evening. And we will continue to pay homage to them throughout the evening. So by now you should have your first course. It is a carrot bread that was made by the Farm Belly with this wonderful beet and fennel herb spread. It's kind of a nice blend of sweet and savory. So go ahead and enjoy that. And while you're tasting that, I'm gonna play a couple of clips for you. The first is gonna be a little bit of an intro from Meg Fama, the Farm Belly. She's the one who made this dish. And then right after that, I'm actually going to go into sharing with you the highlights of educational programming on the farm.
Hi, I'm Meg, and I'm from the Farm Belly Catering Company. What my company does is we source only from Connecticut farms. And we've been working with Masaro farms for the last 5 years through my business, and then prior to that, I always got a lot of produce through them. One of the things that I love about them is they're organic, and it's delicious. It's amazing quality. There's no comparison to the grocery store. It's a really amazing product that Steve and the whole crew put back out to the community. For the annual farm dinner, I decided to do a carrot bread that I paired with a roasted fennel and beet with balsamic spread to go on top. The way I like to create my menus is to discuss with the farmer what they have the most of, and then come up with menus that way, which I personally love that. The annual farm dinner we're really excited to be a part of. We've done so many events with Masaro in the past, and things are a little bit different this time around, but we're still gonna have fun. It's gonna be amazing, and we're really looking forward to it. And here is what you'll be getting. And I hope you enjoy it. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you, Meg. The other thing we wanted to take a pause to do right now is to do a raffle drawing. John, can you see this? Right. Okay. Let me switch over. Just give me one moment here. Let's see. All right. All right. We have, thank you to everyone who actually bought raffle tickets for this evening. I think most of you are actually joining us, but for those who aren't able to join us, we're going to be drawing some raffle winners throughout the evening, and we will contact you within the next couple of days to arrange for you to pick up your items at the farm. We have 10 wonderful raffle items, and I'm going to start with the first one right now. So I'm going to do a drawing for the Fuchsia Dreams. This is an 8x10 acrylic, or sorry, oil and canvas that was done by one of our farm supporters and CSA members, Vasilisa Romanenko. Her and her mom run a instructional studio, paint studio in Hamden, Cheshire area, and they've been big supporters of ours for a long time. So I'm gonna spin the wheel here. You will notice that there are many, many names that are showing up on this wheel, and that is because for every ticket that you purchased, your name was entered on this wheel. All right, so we have Kathy Markle is the winner of our first raffle drawing. Lindsay, I'm gonna ask you to make a note of that as well, Kathy Markle, so that we can contact her later. All right. With that, I'm gonna switch over. I wanna share with you our educational slideshow. So just to give you all a little bit of context, we run, as an educational farm, as a nonprofit, I should say, education is a big part of what we do at the farm. And it means everything from having Amity High School students come and pair up with our farm staffers, typically in a spring, to work for a month, to school field trips that come to the farm, to adult organic land care based workshops. It sometimes means that our farm educator, Corey, takes lessons and takes them into the classroom for students. So education connection with Masaro can take many forms. And over the years, we've been doing this for, I think we started in 2012, shortly after I joined the farm. And so we wanted to share with you a selection of photos from over the years of all those different types of programming, some of which we hope to return to very soon this fall. And this is again set to music by Paul Winter and Teresa Thomason. Lovely. So hard to choose photos to show all of you because we have so many from over the years. As we were playing those clips for you, I could see evidence of Food Corps, the AmeriCorps program, cooking contests, summer camp, nature walks, farm staff getting chainsaw training. I saw Yale Harvest students working with field staff. So education at the farm comes in many shapes and forms, and we're grateful for all those who join us. I'm going to pause for a moment because, as I said, we have many raffle items. So I'm going to switch over and do one more raffle and check our Q&A just to make sure we don't have any questions here. All right. No questions from the crowd, but I will switch over and do another raffle drawing. So we've awarded the Fuchsia Dreams painting. The next item is going to be the sustainability basket. This is a basket made for us by our staffer, Lindsay Browning. It's got a sweatshirt, a t-shirt, a farm hat, a thermal mug, a few other things in there. We want you to reduce, reuse, and recycle. So let me run the spinner for this lovely All right, Tyler Rice. Tyler Rice, I don't think you were a dinner purchaser, but you are a CSA member, so thanks for purchasing those raffle tickets. And with that, I'm gonna switch back over here. Yeah, I realized that. I got a comment, okay. Steve, would you like to join us? I do have a video clip. We're gonna move on to our next course here. So hopefully by now you've enjoyed your carrot bread from the Farm Belly. We're gonna move on to our salad course here. And Steve, I don't know if you wanna say a few words about seasonal catering. I do have a clip from Jim, and then we also have our farm staff video.
Sure. So this dish is a vegetable quinoa salad. It really represents what we've been doing this summer on the farm. It's got tomato, eggplant, yellow squash, zucchini, cucumber, carrots, onions, and basil. And that describes a typical harvest for us on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You know, picking squash and zucchini and cucumber, which we need to keep up with, you know, picking 3 times a week. Likewise with tomatoes, and then picking some big harvests of carrots, some big harvests of onions, and basil as frequently as we can. So this salad dish really exemplifies sort of summer as we've been experiencing it the last couple months here.
All right. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and play for you our intro by Jim Calkins from Seasonal Sweets and Catering. Actually, it used to be Seasonal Sweets and Catering. Now he just goes by Seasonal Catering.
Hello, I'm Jim Calkins, Executive Chef and owner of Seasonal Catering. Thank you for joining us tonight to support Massaro Community Farm. By supporting the farm, our customers get the freshest quality food, and we in turn are reducing our carbon footprint and contributing to the local economy. Every dollar we spend helps the farm grow vegetables for donating to local hunger relief agencies, providing valuable educational programs for children and adults, and helps maintain the 1.5-mile nature trail through 42 acres of open space, woodlands, and wetlands. This evening, we are serving a Masaro vegetable quinoa featuring fresh summer vegetables tossed with a chilled herb-infused quinoa, basil flex, and a delicate white balsamic vinaigrette. We have created this course using the freshest ingredients handpicked by the dedicated farm staff. Thank you again for your support, and please enjoy your meal. Hello, I'm Jim.
Sorry about that. All right. Okay, so with that, grab your forks, make sure you've got your drink full, and please enjoy your salad course. Steve, I'm gonna hand it over to you and invite you to say a few words about our amazing staff who are joining us this evening.
So as I mentioned, this dish really exemplifies a lot of the work we've been doing over the last couple months. Farm work is always engaging and challenging in any year, and this year really is no different. But we have extra challenges this year, and I like to say that organic farming requires resilience, requires flexibility, requires adaptability. It requires perseverance and dedication and commitment. And we have a staff that is fully able to embody those characteristics and take on the challenges that a farmer needs to take on, and that a farm needs to take on, and that a community farm needs to take on to provide for the community on a week in, week out basis. So I personally am incredibly grateful to the crew that we have here, who've been working, some for many years. Bringing people back here year after year is really important to having a successful operation. And in a year like this, where now we can add a pandemic to the list of things we've gone through together: hurricanes, snowstorms, Arctic blasts, heat waves, and now this. Trust in each other, knowledge of each other, and understanding that we need to work together to get through this, and we have to have a lot of trust and dedication. It's been really revitalizing in a time where things can be very difficult. This is a space that I think we've maintained, even when we're not gathering all together. It's been a positive community space and a really great working environment. And so I'm really grateful for the staff for making that happen. So thank you all. And we've got, I think, a slideshow of lots of photos, and you can certainly tell which ones are from this year, but I think we have a few from recent years as well of our incredible farm staff. Thank you all.
All right, and just before I do play that video, I also want to, Steve does not get thanked enough. We couldn't do what we do, from education to food donations, to sharing our space with you, without Steve and his sacrifice and the time of him and his family. They are all part of the broader farm family, and we are incredibly grateful, as I'm sure you all are, because you're all here joining with us this evening. So thank you, Steve, from all of us. All right, with that, I'm going to, and I wanted to say, this is also normally a time where I know there's a lot of demand on Steve's time. Today is actually Steve's wife, Jackie's birthday. So we want to wish Jackie a very, very happy birthday. And we know that there is a family gathering going on. So I'm not sure how long Steve is going to be with us. So thank you for your time. And if you have to step off, we certainly grant you that. And we appreciate you being here with us this evening. All right, we hope you enjoyed that. As Steve said, we have such an amazing and incredible dedicated group. For those of you who aren't quite sure how it works, we have a core group of like 4 to 6 staffers. Those are most of who you saw appearing in those videos, although, and they actually come in over the course of the year. So obviously they're employed full-time now, but as we get into the sort of leaner months and the winter months, they will go to part-time status and often fill their schedules with other jobs, or only come in maybe 1 day a week or 2 days a week. But they are sort of the people that we go to first, and then we kind of fill in from there. So what Steve will do is hire additional summer staff, people to fill in when those folks take vacation, youth crew who come in, you know, as teenagers, which often can lead to summer crew and other folks who come back on a repeating basis. So we hope you enjoyed that. And thank you very much for participating. I'm just checking our list here to see if there's any Q&A. Unfortunately, it is too late to sell raffle tickets because we did need to get all of those names online. For this particular reason, because we are doing this virtually and can't just put tickets in a jar, we needed to cut those sales off yesterday. So thanks again for all of those who purchased tickets. With that, I'm actually going to pause here because we do have an extra moment or two. So I am going to do another raffle drawing. But before I do that, I have a couple of questions here for you guys. Since you're not sending questions my way, I thought it might be fun to launch our own Q&A here, which means you guys can see this on your screen. So I just want to mention a couple of housekeeping items again as reminders. If you want to see the videos that we are playing on full screen, switch to the gallery view on your Zoom screen. It's usually up in the upper right-hand corner, and that will make John and I appear on the side, and you should be able to see as much of the screen as you can as possible to see the videos and slideshows that we're sharing with you this evening. The other thing I do want to mention is that we are recording this. So if you joined a few minutes late or have to hop off at some point because you've got something going on with family, we are recording it. And we do have all of these slideshows recorded independently. So we do plan on sharing them with the public over the coming weeks and months, but you guys are all seeing this for the first time. So we're happy to share those with you. All right, so I'm going to launch this poll, and I've got a few fun questions in here and want to see if you guys can see this. So where did the Masaro family originate from, and when did they arrive in America? This is a multiple choice question. Can you guys click on your screen for those of you that are paying attention and want to answer this? Does anybody know where the Massaro family came from and when they arrived in America? Is anybody near their screen? Some of these questions I didn't even know the answer to, John, so I may have to actually default to you.
Well, that's fine. As an old junior high school teacher, I'd be happy to give people high marks. Are you going to tabulate the results, the responses from the audience, Katie?
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I don't see anyone. I'm hoping this means that folks are busy eating.
There's no penalty for a wrong answer.
That's right. There isn't. All right. Well, I don't want to take too much time on this, but John, would you like to answer this first question?
Well, let me see. Given my great eyesight, they actually came from Italy, and they arrived in 1915. They bought the Massaro farm. It was 110 acres in 1916. So they were there quite a long time. Johnny Massaro was there up until 1995.
Okay. All right. I understand some of you can't hit the button, so that's quite all right. We're gonna move on. We're going to do the next raffle drawing. As I mentioned, we have a couple of items here. So the next raffle items we are going to draw for are going to be a Dahlia Delivery and a health and wellness package. So the first item, just let me switch over to my screen share here so you can all see this. The next item is a Dahlia Delivery. So a former board member and Very big supporter of Dinner on the Farm, big contributor, Maria Kane and Richard Kane. Maria is an award-winning dahlia grower, and Maria has generously offered to share 8 to 10 weeks of deliveries of a dahlia bouquet next summer with the winner here. And in this case, it's Laura Hopper. So Laura, I think you're on our dinner list. Hopefully you can see this. Laura has won a weekly delivery from Maria Kane of a bouquet of beautiful dahlias from Maria's garden, and also a wonderful flower growing book. All right, I'm gonna do one more drawing and then we're gonna move on to our next course. The next drawing we're going to spin for is gonna be the health and wellness package. So another longtime supporter, original education committee leader and yoga teacher, all-around teacher at the farm, Diane King, has donated a private yoga session together with a naturopathic consultation with a naturopath, Jen Botwick. There is a yoga mat, a yoga book, a foam roller, some essential oils, and I think that's everything that is in that package. So we just spun the wheel for that, and Michelle Cohen is going to be the winner of that. Michelle originally bought tickets and then couldn't be with us this evening. She might be joining us online, but Michelle, thank you for your support. All right, so with that, we're gonna move on. You should now be on to, and maybe you guys are eating this all together. If that's so, that's perfectly fine. We're gonna move on to the corn and succotash dish. Now, many of you have been supporting the farm for many years know that the caterer that we worked with for many years in a row was Denise Appel and her co-owners and co-partners, sous chef Alex Splifford, and Alex did the preparation of this dish for you this evening. We really are grateful and appreciate the many, many years of contribution of Zinc. Denise happens to be a Woodbridge resident, and she also has been taking time to explore much of her artistic expression this year. And one of the things that is in our raffle is actually a painting by Denise. So before that, I'm gonna share this behind the scenes with you, which was given to us by Alex, who prepared the corn and succotash dish for you. Hang on, I know you can't see that, just give me a second.
Hello, my name is Alex Blifford. I'm the chef de cuisine at Zinc Restaurant in downtown New Haven. And on behalf of the restaurant, I'd like to thank everyone for supporting the Massaro Farm Dinner on the Farm this year. We worked with Steve for many years on many dinners on the farm, as well as using his products in our seasonal market menu. This year, we're doing a roasted corn succotash featuring Merry Mountain Farm corn, Massaro Farm peppers and carrots, baby lima beans, parsley, jalapenos, cumin, paprika. We thicken our succotash with masa harina, so we don't use any dairy or gluten in our product. And once again, I'd like to say thank you for supporting Massaro Farms, and I hope everyone enjoys it. Hello, my name is Alex Blifford.
Thank you, Alex. All right, great. Let's see, I see some comments, so I just wanna check and see what we've got going on here. Vivian says, hi, thank you, Farmer Steve. How do you volunteer at the farm? So you can call the farm office. It's the numbers on our website. I'll say it very quickly, 736-8618. There is also a page on our website dedicated to volunteering that lists all the different ways that you can volunteer. You're very distracting tonight, Farmer Steve. All right, so we take volunteers year round. So obviously there is a lot to do in the summer months, and with our buildings being off limits right now to non-farm staff, there is a limited amount of what people can do sort of inside as the weather gets colder. But we continue to be creative, so we don't want that to deter you from volunteering. Please reach out to us anytime, even if it's picking up food from the farm and taking it to one of our food donation partners, which is who we're going to highlight next. We really appreciate that because, to be honest, folks, if the Connecticut Food Bank isn't picking up, most of the time I'm the one that's delivering it. As you know, oftentimes in 1 week, we can get many crates of one particular item, and we don't want to overwhelm our food donation partners with food that they can't redistribute or don't have the space to store. So we really try to make an effort to work with several partners throughout the season. And I will say in the current last year and this year, we have been working with St. Vincent de Paul in Derby, the Salvation Army in Ansonia, Spooner House, which does prepared meals, and they can often take bulk items from us as well. A very small food pantry at Christ Episcopal Church in Ansonia called the Catherine Samilla Food Pantry, which sees quite a few families every month. Loaves and Fishes in New Haven. Steve has also been providing produce to Common Ground High School in New Haven, who is doing a subsidized CSA share, I think partially funded by the USDA, and we have been passing along produce to them. Love Fed New Haven, which is another food organization in New Haven. I might be leaving one or two out, but we really do spread the love. So many, many partners, many folks, the Samilla Collective, which is a organization that sprang up this late winter, past spring to serve many of the immigrant families who are afraid, without documentation, afraid to go to food pantries. And this particular group actually serves those folks across New Haven. So many, many partners are making sure that this produce is getting to people who need it the most. And it's a very quick turnaround. Again, because as you all know, this produce has a shelf life. So we want to make sure that it gets to folks who can use it and reaches their plates. So much of what you're doing, and this event in particular every year, is really to support the funds that we raise for this event really goes to support the food donation program at the farm. Yes, we are selling produce throughout the year, but there are many things that the income from the sales of our produce go to cover, not the least of which is the farm staff, and offsetting the cost of all of the food donations that we take from our harvest and make sure it gets to all of those partners. We really rely on this event each year. So I just want to throw out a reminder to folks that you can go to our website, massarofarm.org. There is a donate button in the upper right-hand corner, and you can make contributions to that anytime, any day. We welcome that. And again, those donations really do help offset the food donation program that is really the primary part of our charitable mission at Massaro. So with that, I'm going to move on. I'm going to share with you our food donation slideshow. And again, I just want to mention that all of these slideshows have been set to music shared with us by Paul Winter and his consort and Teresa Thomason. All right, it's hard to really show the impact of all the families that we are reaching through this program. One of the things that we've been trying to dedicate some time towards, we had Food Corps, which is an AmeriCorps program, a Food Corps service representative at the farm for 5 years running until 2018. And that person's primary function was really to take farm food into the classrooms and into the classrooms of Ansonia and Derby, because many of those students are on free and reduced lunches. Since that program ended, we've kind of used our energy to redirect towards a couple of other nutrition programs. One is this year we're partnering with the city of Derby to provide them, those was one of the pictures that you saw, so that farm fresh food goes to the employees of the city of Derby under a health and wellness initiative that they're doing. And the other thing we did last year into early 2020 was a food and nutrition program that actually ended coincidentally right before the pandemic hit. But it was a weekly and bi-weekly nutrition program that we were doing with families in the Valley, really taking farm fresh produce and showing them how to use it, because we realized that most of us are so accustomed to using what we want and what's available year round in the grocery store that we often don't really know how to use what's growing and what's fresh and available in season and in our region. So we really wanted to try to use that opportunity to re-educate folks, and that was highly successful. It was a small concentrated group of individuals, but we saw a marked increase in their consumption of vegetables. And every week when they came to the nutrition education program, they got to take home a bag of vegetables and the food to make the recipe again at home. So that was usually made up of things that were coming from the farm and other staples they might get from the food pantry. I want a special shout out to Alana. Alana is one of our farm staffers, and she helped teach that program. So thank you, Alana. I'm just gonna pause. I see that Lindsay has thankfully put the link up to our website in our chat feature. So thank you very much for that, Lindsay. Please remember, if you have any questions, you can post them here. We're going to be checking throughout the evening. I'm going to pause to do another couple of raffles here, and then we're going to move on to our main course. All right, so the next item we're going to be raffling is going to be the Denise Appel painting. So I'm going to switch back over to our spinner here. And you guys can watch all of your names spin around. They're way too small for you to see because given all the tickets that we sold, we had over 330 entries in the raffle. This is probably the best year that we've had for the raffle, since we're not actually having a live auction. So thank you all again for contributing these fun prizes. All right. So we have another winner here. This is Laura Hocker. I know she won earlier, but she bought 30 tickets. So Laura just won. That was a raffle I was running for the Denise Appel painting. And if you got our emails earlier this week, which I sent to all of those who bought raffle tickets, you would have seen pictures of all of these items. All right, so Lindsay, I'm just gonna ask you to make a note of that again so that we can make sure we follow up with everyone. And then I'm gonna move on to the next raffle item. There is a small farm down the street from Massaro in Derby. It's called Sunflower Farm, and it's not so much a property as it is sort of like a small country store, but I know they sell things like local honey, and they make their own soaps, and they do some infusions and tinctures and things like that. And they have given us a really nice little basket of some preserved peaches, a candle, some soaps, and some of the other things that they sell in their market over there. When Steve and Jack got married, it was right across the street from Sunflower Farm at Camp Cedar Crest. All right, with that, I'm gonna kick off the wheel here. Kathy Markle is a winner. All right. Okay. It's so odd to not have all your faces and voices on the screen because we're so used to conversing with all of you, but thank you again for being here with us this evening. All right, with that, I'm going to move on to a Paul Winter sound clip. As you've been hearing and watching the slideshows this evening, hopefully you've been enjoying much of the music. Paul Winter has quite a big property up in Litchfield County. I think, John, it's probably about 300 acres, and I know he keeps horses and he has a recording studio there, and he's been a big admirer of the farm. So we're very grateful to be able to not only use his music, but also some video clips. So I'm gonna allow this to play while you guys all get your main entrees ready if you haven't already dug in. Let's see here.
Reach out from all land. Ooh. It's a chorus of voices, a clasping of hands. Sing songs that were sung by the stars of the morn. Songs of the angels when Jesus was born. With glad jubilation, bring hope to the nation that the dark night is ending and dawn has begun. Oh, rise, the hope of the ages. Arise like the sun, and all speech flows to music, and all of our voices are one. I know the dark, oh, the dark night is ending, and dawn has begun. Oh, blow the bugles of battle. They're the marches of peace, east and west, north and south. Let the long quarrels cease. Sing songs of great joy that the angels began. Sing the glory to God, and goodwill toward man. We'll join in a chorus as the heavens bend over us. The dark night is ending, and dawn it has begun. Oh, rise, the hope of the ages. Arise like the sun, and all speech will flow to music, and all of our voices will be one. Oh, the dark night is ending, and dawn, the beautiful dawn has begun.
It's just amazing. We're so grateful to have Teresa as a part of our development team and to have contributed some of these clips. So I'm watching the light fade outside, and it was such a beautiful day today that I was thinking if we were enjoying our main course, we'd have people walking around lighting our tiki torches. And we know it's hard for you to refrain from eating all of this wonderful food all together. The reason why we separated the courses and are sharing these clips with you this evening is because we know that when we are sitting down at table together in the field, we are often bringing out one course following another. So we wanted to try to give you the feel of what is happening when we usually eat together at table out on the farm. With that, I'm going to share with you. John, did you want to add something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Katie, if I could just interject here. If you like Teresa and Paul's music, which I'm probably certain you do, stick around after 8:15 and you can hear Paul's latest composition. We also, as you know, we were hoping to have a concert with Teresa and Paul, two of them, in fact, this spring. Because of the pandemic, we weren't able to do that. However, we will keep you posted about a collaboration with Paul and Teresa, perhaps back at the Church of the Assumption in Ansonia, like we did back in February of 2017. So once again, thanks so much to Teresa and Paul and the Paul Winter Consort for this fabulous music.
All right. Sorry, I changed my lighting there. I'm trying to get it so that there's not so much reflection on my glasses when I'm on the screen. All right, so with that, I'm gonna switch over here and share with you our clip from Olmo. As many of you know, Olmo is in the space where Caseus used to be. Jason Sobosinski, the founder of Caseus, wanted to take a step back and have some more time for his family. And so two of his main chefs there really stepped forward to create a new menu and a new offering under the name of Olmo. And we're very happy to continue to partner with them. And grateful for this pulled chicken and, oh, sorry about that. Launched right into that. We're very grateful for the gazpacho and pulled chicken drizzled with basil oil, as well as the olive oil ciabatta roll that you are enjoying this evening. Let me share this clip with you of Craig Lashinsky.
Hey all, it's Craig from Olmo. Thanks so much for having us a part of the Massaro Farm Dinner this year. We support local for 3 reasons. 1, because it's the right thing to do. 2, because the ingredients taste better. And 3, because they're our friends. We love Massaro Farm. This year we made up a beautiful Spanish-style gazpacho with heirloom tomatoes, cucumbers, and braised chicken with a little bit of basil oil over the top. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next year. Hey all, it's Craig.
All right. So many, many thanks to our friends over at Olmo. We know that they have really been working very, very hard to keep the restaurant going in these unusual times. They do have a small take-home meal, and they're doing bagels. So in addition to them, we encourage you to support many of the businesses that we're sharing with you this evening. I think all of them are doing catering and takeout meals, if I'm not wrong. So please support our fellow chefs and caterers in the community. Let's see. Lindsay, do we have any other questions right now? Any other chat? I'm hoping that people are busy eating and enjoying their meals, and that's not why they're talking to us. So if that's the case, please continue to enjoy, folks. And I want to just say a few words before I introduce the next video. So many of you really enjoy the opportunity to interact with Farmer Steve. Obviously, his time is much in demand during the peak of the season, and it was really hard for us just to get him to take a few moments to record this with you, but people really enjoy at the dinner walking around the farm with Farmer Steve and asking questions about how he's managing the soil, how he's managing plantings, a crop rotation, what is the impact of the bees, or a particularly dry year like we've had this summer, or a particularly wet year like we've had last year. What's coming in the future for the farm? What new crops are you trying? And we're really sorry that we can't engage with you at the farm, but we wanted to take this opportunity, and we've recorded this farm tour for you with Steve, taking some highlights that he tries to focus on when he is walking folks around the farm. We're happy to take questions, so if you have them, please feel free to put them in the chat. Call us or email us anytime. I mean, if you're a CSA subscriber, Steve takes the interaction with our customers as a very high priority, and he really tries to be present and answer lots of questions. So he tries to be available for you. Again, we're wishing Jackie a very happy birthday this evening. And without further ado, I'm going to switch over to our farm tour with Farmer Steve and our Education Director, Corey Thomas.
Hi, and welcome to Massaro Community Farm. I'm Farmer Steve, I'm the farm manager here, and we are going to walk around for a little farm tour. Come on with me. Here in this tunnel we currently have a silage tarp, which is going to kill off the crop residue from the beets and the lettuce that were in here previously that we had harvested, and it allows us to turn over the tunnel and prep it for the next crop without disturbing the soil. So in a few weeks we'll be able to pull this off and do a little more work to plant for winter greens that will be in here. We'll likely have kale and broccoli in here growing over the winter that we'll harvest from January through April or May. We've got a number of tunnels here which allows us to stagger our harvest and planting. So while we've just put the tarp down on this tunnel, we've got another tunnel where we've taken the tarp off. Let's go take a look. This is what the space looks like after having a silage tarp down for about 4 weeks. We've removed the silage tarp and now we're going to prep this space for winter greens. Earlier in the season we had a crop of carrots. We mowed down the crop residue, put that tarp on, pulled it off, and now we're going to get ready for those winter greens. There'll be chard, spinach, and lettuce in here that we'll harvest from December through March or April of next year. We're here in a high tunnel that has a few different things going on. We've got a crop of sweet peppers, a crop of cherry tomatoes, and another crop of peppers on the other side of the tomatoes. And then we've got a newly sown crop of carrots, which will be for fall and winter growing. You can see we're using drip tape to irrigate both the carrots, the peppers, and the tomatoes. And we're using a fabric to protect the crops over on this side, the peppers and tomatoes, but no fabric here. We're just using bare soil for the carrots. The carrots need to be in this bare soil, whereas the peppers and tomatoes, we cut holes in the fabric. You can see some, maybe right down here. Just a hole so that just that crop grows right through, and it suppresses any weeds that might grow throughout the season, so we've got a really clean harvest. Here we are in our tomato tunnel. You can see these tomatoes might look a little different than you might have them growing in your backyard or out in the garden. We use the high tunnel structure to trellis the tomatoes on a single leader, so this requires weekly pruning and management so that we keep airflow and keep the plants really healthy and productive, and really try to manage how much fruit we're getting on each plant. So we're in here a couple times a week harvesting and pruning. We've planted companions along the end with some marigolds and some basil along the side, which helps us maximize the production in here, but also keep it full of beneficial insects and pollinators. So this is our historic dairy barn. When the Massaros were here, they had their cows in there for milking. Today we use it for storing our produce. We've got a couple coolers inside to keep our harvested produce cool. And typically we do our CSA distribution inside the barn there, where our 200 to 300 families pick up on a weekly basis from June through October. This year we're hosting it outside of the barn here so people can come through. You can see on top of the barn we've got solar panels. We had panels put in some years ago, and then this year we filled out the rest of the roof with the panels. We're fortunate the barn faces directly south, so it's a great way to use that structure in our sustainability initiatives and reducing our carbon footprint.
Hi everyone, my name is Corey Thomas. I'm the Education Director with Massaro Community Farm. Right here we have our learning garden space. This basically encapsulates what's happening on the farm, just on a smaller scale. So we'll have students out here from all ages learning all about how crops are grown in different capacities. And then whatever produce we do grow in our learning garden beds is either used directly in our educational programming or donated to local food pantries. All right, now let's go head over to check out some animals. So we have a variety of animals here on the farm. We have 2 rabbits, Rosemary and Basil. We also have a variety of laying hens, which are all different breeds, including Barred Rocks. And we also have 4 different goats that are Alpine and Oberhassis. So these are 2 of our goats. We have Poppy and Jen. So we use our goats all over the property here to help maintain our fence lines and eat any weeds or invasive species that we don't want on the property. Back to you, Steve.
Thanks, Corey. We're going to pick it up here at the swale. So one of the features I always like to point out as we walk around the farm here is the swale, which is right behind me. And what it's doing is capturing water that's coming down the hill and moving it around this field into our woods. When we started here in 2010, this field was often in ankle-deep water, but we worked with the Natural Resource Conservation Service, the NRCS, to create this feature so that we could still grow in this field and manage the water appropriately and diverting it to our woods. One of the things we try to do around the farm is create pollinator strips on the field borders. So behind me here we've got a mix of buckwheat, clovers, sunflower, some dill and cilantro from earlier in the season that we allowed to flower and go to seed. And this keeps pollinators attracted to all corners of the farm so that they come to our crops, and it creates habitat for them as well. Buckwheat is one of my favorite cover crops and flowering crops that we have on the farm that are attractive to pollinators. I like it because the bees do love it. You'll see as you walk through here lots of insect activity, but also it grows very quickly and flowers quickly, and it prevents some other weeds or undesirable species from growing. And you can see here, the white flower is just starting to turn and go to seed. So if I want to have multiple crops of this, I can just mow it down in place and the buckwheat will germinate and come right back up again. So I don't have to do any more soil disturbance. Once I've got buckwheat established here on the edge, it'll continue to come back. Here we've got some zinnias growing, again, a little edge on the border of a field, providing some habitat for pollinators, and also just something that we enjoy to have on the farm. Occasionally we'll make bouquets to offer at CSA distribution or for us to take home and enjoy ourselves. Here we are at our compost. Behind me you can see a pile of leaves that we collect from local landscapers, and we turn that, and over the course of about 1.5 years, it becomes a darker compost, well-composted soil that's ready for us to spread throughout the farm for use to help grow our vegetables. Behind these mountains of leaves is a separate compost that we use for any vegetable waste or any biomass we pick up on the farm, and we compost that in a separate pile because it breaks down sort of at a different timing, and we don't have to worry about weed seeds in the leaves, so we've got those different piles that we manage a little separately. Let's check out the bees. Behind me you can see our beehives. We've been working with the Connecticut Beekeepers Association for a decade now, offering educational programs on beekeeping. We typically do 1 beekeeping workshop per month from March through October. They've been very well received, and it'll take you through how to manage a hive on your own, from setting up your boxes, installing your bees, through a honey harvest and prep for winter. Thanks again for walking around with me. I'm Farmer Steve. We're here at Massaro Community Farm, and love to see you again sometime. Thanks.
All right, I hope you all enjoyed that. We're especially grateful. We've been really lucky. We have a number of people that have helped us in the past and capture photos and videos. Many of the promotional photos we used to share with you about dinner from the farm this year were previous year's dinner photos by Walker Studios, and they're right in Oxford. But this particular video and many of the ones we've used over the last 1.5 years was actually prepared, shot, and edited by a farm summer staffer, Michaela Papa. And Michaela works at the farm in the summertime and is an AV teacher during the school year. So I asked her to put her name in there at the end so we could all thank her. Of course, she did not do that. Very humble. Hopefully you are, let's see, I'm just, you're all enjoying your main course, getting full, feeling satisfied. And we're kind of rounding the bend here, getting close to the end of our evening with you. Again, thanks for enjoying us. We hope you have had a great time enjoying this meal prepared by the many chefs who have contributed. Again, if you have any questions about the food or anything that we have been sharing with you on our slideshows, please feel free to share something in the chat or email us at any time. You can email us at the farm, info@massarofarm.org. Of course, many of you come to the farm anyway, and so hopefully you feel comfortable and will ask us questions whenever you see us roaming around the farm. As we were watching that farm tour video, I noticed that Steve and Corey both mentioned aspects of what we do in terms of sustainability at the farm. So from the very get-go, when Steve was hired to really create, he was given a blank slate and hired to be a farm manager of something that didn't exist, right? It was only really in concept form. So when the initial grant was provided by the USDA, it was really up to Steve to prioritize where that money was going to go first and figure out what was needed to get things going. And then many of the improvements you have seen come over the course of the year since then. So that includes things like additional high tunnels, which lengthen our growing season. And by the way, which we intend to use even more of this coming year to grow more produce for sale through the online store. Things like the NRCS swale, improving the features of the farm, adding more pollinator habitat, taking down invasive species, doing things like adding the solar panels, which, by the way, the addition this year of those additional solar panels was made possible through a partnership with a small company in Hamden called CGM Resources that really wanted to see an increase in solar energy across the state. And they actually approached us. They sought us out and paid for the installation of those solar panels. And so we are reaping the benefits of that. So water diversion, pollinator habitat, control of invasive species, really trying to create a closed loop system. And the primary, I think, driving factor of the way Steve makes decisions about what he's doing on the farm is to operate in what we call an agroecological fashion. So not completely a closed loop, but very close to it in the sense that we're taking the weeds and leaves that we cut on the farm and even the rotten fruits and vegetables, like we don't leave anything, everything goes in compost. Creating our own compost, solar power, water diversion, all of the things that I've already mentioned. So and those are things that we can continue to improve upon. Having said that, I'm going to share some photos with you, and the next slideshow is actually going to feature some of the sustainability aspects that we have used at Masaro Community Farm. Just one moment here. That was, I apologize, that was the one slideshow that seemed like it had a little bit of issue with it, but hopefully you got to see some of those photos. I even noticed a couple more things I forgot to mention. Our relatively new, new last year, permeable parking area, which we're in dire need of additional parking on the farm, and we're very grateful to the partnership with Haynes Group out of the Valley to come in and level that area behind the barn and create a permeable surface that didn't introduce any foreign object to the farm and allows water to continue to permeate the soil. And also the windbreaks. So if you were just looking at hedges, they may look innocuous, but those were very intentionally planted, both midfield up on the northern side of the farm, as well as next to the greenhouse. And those are really because we sit on the top of a hill and we get incredible winds, not only just during storms, but also throughout the winter and the off season when there's not a lot of foliage to slow that down. And that can really erode topsoil for a farm that spends so much time and energy trying to create quality topsoil for quality vegetables. So those are some other aspects of sustainability that were not even mentioned. Hopefully you had a chance to reference the farm map we shared with you. I tried to touch upon all the areas that Steve and Corey referenced as they were showing you around the farm. All right.
Katie, if I could
yes,
say,
please.
there are 169 municipalities in Connecticut. And because of a lot of this sustainability work that was done at the farm, Woodbridge was one of the first of 22 municipalities, cities and towns to get a sustainability certificate. So we have been fortunate to have a great partner. The landlord for this 57-acre parcel is the town of Woodbridge. They've been terrific in collaborating with us on some of these sustainability projects, like the initial solar collectors on the barn. So what Steve and the staff are putting into play is truly a model for small farms in this state. And we're happy to be part of this movement.
I see that we have a request in the chat function for the recent sustainability article. Actually, sorry, it wasn't sustainability. It was actually an article just talking about the farm sort of adaptability. And I'm going to ask Lindsay to find that and share that with you. It was in a recent newsletter. So if you don't get the biweekly newsletter from the farm, I'm going to see if I can find that and we'll put it up in the chat feature to be shared with you all. It was an article that was written about the farm, as I mentioned, sort of in our adaptations made, particularly in this year, and written and published by a woman who is a member of the CT NOFA chapter in New York. So Steve has some connection with her through CT NOFA. It was printed on her blog, published on her blog, and then picked up by 2 other news sources. So it was a really nice article about our farm staff. So we'll try to get that up and share that for you. At this point, I'd like to stop and do a couple more raffle drawings. And then we're going to round out with our dessert course and do our final raffle. And also I wanted to particularly thank, because I know, and I think we have many of them on our program this evening, many members of the Southern Connecticut State University staff and administration. Southern Connecticut has been supporting us almost as long as I've been at the farm, which is 8 years, in a sponsorship form to support Dinner on the Farm and the work that we do. I know that Southern has made great efforts to reach out into the community around its campus as well, right on the border of New Haven and Westville. In food rescue and redelivery, they have a sustainability program there. They have students monitoring a garden. They have sent students up to the farm to do education for a number of different classes. So we have an ongoing partnership and we're very grateful. I wanted to say thank you to those of you, Greg, Joe, Christine, all of you who may be joining us this evening and enjoying your meals from the farm. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your continued support. All right, John, if you're good, I'm gonna switch over now and do another raffle drawing. So let me do that real quick. So we've got a handful of raffle items, and if you're hanging out for that Massaro basket, I'm saving that till the end, but I am going to raffle off and draw now for the Hartford Flavor Company. So the Hartford Flavor Company was at the farm dinner last year, I believe. They brought some of their locally grown spirits, locally produced spirits from Hartford, and they're giving away Hey. All right. I promise that wasn't a fix. I just got done thanking the folks over at Southern and the winner of that Hartford Flavor Company tasting for 10, which is in a private room. And they are open again, observing social distance requirements for the state of Connecticut. But Hartford Flavor Company winner, Joe Berlino, president over at Southern. All right, one more for this round and then we'll move on. The next item I'm going to spin the wheel for is a home manicure and nail kit. There are nail strips, nail remover. There's a whole bunch of stuff to do manicure and take care of your fingers and toenails at home. We want to thank Lindsay Browning for this basket. Great. Scott Funston. Thank you, Scott. This is Scott and Jen's first year enjoying a meal from Dinner on the Farm. So thank you guys. It was nice to see you yesterday. Hope you're enjoying your meal. All right, with that, I'm going to play this very short clip that Southern shared with us. You'll bear with me, and we're getting down to the end here. Let's see. So thank you again, all the folks over at Southern, for supporting us over the years. All right, with that, we're rounding out the evening. It's 8 p.m. I'm really happy that we're right on target. We don't want to keep you guys longer than we promised. So we're getting very close to the end here. Hopefully by now you've filled your bellies and maybe even saved a little bit of room for dessert. Freshen your drinks and grab that dessert from Small Kitchen Big Taste. These are folks that we've been working with for the past couple of years on the farm. And I will say that they are extremely generous. They do a lot of benefit events for other organizations, not just Massaro. So we're extremely pleased to be able to work with Small Kitchen Big Taste, a small catering company based out of Hamden.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Karen, owner and pastry chef of Small Kitchen Big Taste. We are a custom catering and events company in North Haven. We have been working with Massaro for a long time, since the beginning of XKBT. First with produce for our prepared foods and stands at the farmers markets, and then now for events and catering. So thank you for supporting Massaro, a wonderful organization and farm. We're so excited to be a part of this tonight and to be working alongside other amazing restaurants and collaborators. We prepared for you dessert, which is a fig and honey cake with beautiful fresh in-season figs, both in the cake and honey glazed fresh. And then we also have a mascarpone vanilla bean whip and a hazelnut crumble. Hope you enjoy.
All right. So hopefully you guys, if you haven't enjoyed your dessert, hopefully you're having that now. I want to say thank you again to the many attendees who purchased meals from us, maybe who didn't purchase meals from us, but who joined us anyway. A special acknowledgement to our honored guests, Bill and Claire Kelly, and also our farm staffers, Farmer Steve and his family. Again, many happy wishes to Jackie for a very happy birthday. Thank you to the planning team. So in a typical year, I mean, this in many ways was a much lighter lift for us to be able to bring you this program this evening than a typical dinner on the farm. We didn't have to set up the tent. We didn't have to put out the tiki torches and all the things that we normally do to try to equally space tables and make sure no one's sitting in a hole out in the field. So it felt in many ways easier, but again, it was doing something that we are not in the habit of doing. So we tried very hard, and we hope that you enjoyed the program throughout this evening and all the different aspects of the farm that we were trying to share with you so that you could get a picture and a feel of what's going on and what we're working on. And also celebrate with us 10 full years, getting close to an 11th year at the farm. John, before I hand it off to you, if you don't mind, I'm just going to do the last raffle drawing of the evening. Then we'll play our acknowledgement and honoring of Louisa Cunningham, who gave an incredible gift to the farm. And then we'll close out with just some music and video from Paul Winter and Teresa Thomason again. All right, so let me switch over to our wheel one last time. All right, Shirley DiGennaro. Shirley DiGennaro, you are the winner of a wonderful wine sampler basket. And in your sampler basket, you have 5 or 6 bottles of wine, a really nice insulated carafe, and some insulated tumblers. And we'll make sure to reach out to you to get those items to you this week. Okay. Last but not least, we wanted to share a Best of Massaro basket. And Lindsay, I'm just going to make note for you over on your end. Shirley DiGennaro was the winner of the wine sampler basket. Our Masaro basket, we like to share with you the best of Masaro. So there's a number of our jarred products in there. A jar of crushed tomatoes, a jar of tomato sauce, a jar of our fresh farm salsa. Many of these just came in the last couple of weeks. Some honey and some farm fresh eggs. And I think a beautiful, beautiful plate that was made for us of the Masaro logo, a logoed plate created for us especially by our brand new board member, Willa Ridinger. So thank you, Willa, for that contribution. And with that, I'm going to spin the wheel one last time. Great, Laura Marasco. Laura, thank you for the purchase of your raffle tickets this evening. Okay, so let me close this out, John. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to you. And as soon as you say your few words, I'll be ready to share Louisa's video.
Great, thanks very much, Katie. And thanks to you for orchestrating this incredible show tonight. Bear with me, I'm going to read a tribute to Louisa, because if I don't read it, I probably won't get through it. And then after I finish, we'll show a slideshow devoted to Louisa and her amazing work at the farm. Louisa Cunningham passed away in July of this year. She was a dedicated board member, dear friend, astute collaborator, and wise counselor. She was an avid bird watcher, a community gardener, and an art historian, having served as a deputy director of the Yale Art Gallery. One of her passions was making outdoor education available to children regardless of socioeconomic status. She worked tirelessly at Masaro and at the Everyone Outside program in Durham, Connecticut. Louisa believed that having a personal connection with nature is critical for one's personal health and for environmental stewardship. The song that you will hear in the background is by Paul Winter. It's entitled "The Well-Tempered Wood Thrush." That bird was one of Louisa's most favorite. 1 month before she died, a wood thrush came to nest in her backyard. We ask that you help us raise awareness about or contribute to the endowment fund that she and her husband, Bill Kelly, established in 2018 at the Community Foundation of Greater New Haven. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks, John. We have a short slideshow of just capturing a few photos of Louisa and her many contributions around the farm. So we're going to share that with you. And with that, you're not going to hear anything further from us. So please enjoy this last slideshow of Louisa, and then we'll transition to some music, and there'll be 2 links up on the screen that you'll see during the closing portion. One is a link to the education fund and endowment fund that John just referenced that is set up through the Community Foundation, as well as to the Massaro Farm website if you'd like to make a contribution or share that with friends. I also want to say a special thank you to Lindsay Browning, who has been monitoring this in the background, keeping me on track, and was hugely helpful in setting this program up and created all the slideshows that you've seen tonight. And also for Corey Thomas, our educator at the farm, who has been coordinating volunteers and manning community gardens throughout the valley this year. So thanks to all of our amazing staff.
This is for